President Bush has removed the 27-year-long offshore drilling ban and is pressuring the Democratic-controlled Congress to do the same. House Republicans held a press conference to discuss, quote, common sense reforms to lower gas prices. Here's the report. Wanted to know if you feel that members of Congress who oppose drilling in the United States, new drilling in the United States, are responsible for the high gas prices.
I think that has a lot to do with the high gas prices. Every other country in the world looks at its natural resources and sees them as an economic asset. Too many people in Washington for too long looked at our natural resources and saw them as a potential environmental hazard. There's nobody else that does that. It's a foolish position to take. It's done a lot to get us in the position of dependency we have now on people who don't like us. We have to change that. One of the big elements of changing that is looking for our own American energy resources in a significant way.
If you look at the Democrats in Congress over the last 25 years have opposed all efforts to open up additional production. If they had not voted against ANWR back in the late 80s and early 90s, if Bill Clinton hadn't vetoed the ANWR drilling bill back in the mid-90s, you go through vote after vote, they've been blocking new production. That's why our imports are up so high, and that's why we're at the mercy of these international cartels and countries, and we don't have the supply that we need.
It's a first step, and had this been done 10, 15, 20 years ago, we might not be here today with this problem. Look, we're not advocating drilling and drilling alone. Drilling is the first step in an entirely new portfolio of energy solutions, wind, solar, et cetera, nuclear, et cetera. But by signaling to the world markets that today we're serious about developing our own resources here in America will have significant impact. So there could be, as the President said yesterday, if people know that America's serious about this problem, there will be impacts in the world marketplace.
That policy is one factor in why gas prices are as high as they are. The fact that Congress, over the decades, has been intransigent in exploring homegrown sources of energy, whether that's clean coal, tar sands, oil shale, OCS, or the Arctic. Congress has failed the American people in refusing to produce homegrown energy and made us more dependent on countries that don't like us for the lifeblood of our economy.
Well, I think they're certainly contributing to that. I mean, it's basically a problem of supply and demand. And so that's why we say we need to find more and use less. Conservation's fine, but you can't conserve your way into energy independence when energy, and including gasoline, is an important part of our economy.
Nancy Pelosi, who said, let's pull some out of the strategic reserve. She wrote a letter to President Bush because 70,000 barrels a day are going into the strategic reserve.
Sure.
A lot of Republicans have said, sorry, that's reserved for national disaster, terrorism. But President Bush has stored more oil than any president in history in the strategic reserve. So Newt Gingrich is saying that should be done. Do you think Republicans should open their minds to that possibility?
I think everything should be on the table. We are at such a significant state of economic crisis that every option should be considered. And I'm frankly not sure where that stands with Congress. With the President lifting the moratorium yesterday on the Outer Continental Shelf, that's where the focus needs to be here this week, certainly. But absolutely, I think everything needs to be considered, and scientists and technologists and environmentalists all need to come together to make sure these approaches actually work and are safe for the environment, and that we're practicing active conservation. And I think people have gotten that message, and we're going to be pretty sensitive to that.
Will this actually lower prices at the pump? How do we know the oil companies won't just say, we're keeping the prices the same? Yeah, there's more oil, but it's going to be the same.
Well, it's a global market, so you have to have a willing buyer and a willing seller, and it's really, you're addressing one aspect of it, which is the commodities futures trading system, which allows people to buy a contract for delivery of oil in the future. And unfortunately, when the worldwide markets look at what's happening in America, they see Congress impeding development of more supply. So they then set the price of gas higher, or oil higher, which is a major component of gasoline. So I think it will have an impact immediately, even though a lot of the production won't be online for years to come. But we need this additional oil so we can reduce our dependency on imported sources of oil from places like the Middle East as we transition our way to a different type of energy economy.
Have you been briefed at all on if it's guaranteed that this will actually lower prices, the companies will lower prices even if we are drilling in new areas?
Well, there's no guarantee on anything. But trust me, if you've got more supply on the market, you're going to have a lower price. I know the laws of supply and demand. I took my physics classes, and if there's more energy production and more oil in the pipeline, trust me, the price will come down.
I'm Nicholas Ballasy, CNSnews.com, Washington.